Hi, I'm Marilyn San Clemente of Stamp with Marilyn, and welcome to my creative playground. Tonight, I'm going to show you the new Thankful Garden set, which has some beautiful, beautiful masks, and how to color the flowers and things. So give me a minute, I'll get my camera set up, and then we will get started. Okay, I have the Thankful Garden stamp set, and it looks like this. It has a hydrangea, and I'm not sure what flower this is. Some people say it's a rose. I'm not sure that it's a rose because it doesn't have enough petals to it. So I'm going to use that flower. But these are a couple of cards. I made a whole slew of cards to use for swaps. I just got back from on stage, and we have a copy of the new upcoming catalog. I can show you the cover, and that is it. So I cannot show you anything inside, but this gives you an idea. And this flower set that is on the front is the primary set in the catalog, and it is very, very pretty. So what's really cool, so this hydrangea bundle is in the online exclusives, and I think it will be there for a while. And it has, as I said, it has the flowers, it has leaves, it has the dies to cut out leaves, and it has a couple of little sentiments, which we will use too. So these are two cards that were designed by Stamping Gala, that is Julie Gilson, and Jeannie had signed up for us to take her class that Thursday before convention started, so that was really cool. And Julie Gilson always has beautiful, beautiful ideas. So I love this. So I wanted to show you that. And I'm going to show you different options to color these. And then these two were two of my swap cards. And so I'm going to show you how I made those as well. But I want to show you a variety of different things today. So we'll see how far I get. There's 5 masks that come with this set. And these are the leaves. Okay, so here's the detail piece for the leaves, and here's the regular background piece for the leaves, and this one is the flowers, and then this one is the hydrangea. So let me show you here. So the hydrangea has the 2 leaves here, and these flowers have, is it 5 leaves? Has 5 leaves. So these 2 masks are for the leaves. So you would obviously use green or, one of those other colors. And then there's 3 masks that do the flower itself. And this is the background. Oops, I have this upside down. There we go. Okay, this is the background of the flower. And these masks have these little numbers on them as well. And then this is the background of this flower. And then as you go, this is the next layer, which is a little bit more detail, and then that would be that. And then this is the final layer, which is the darkest shade. So you're gonna always start with the light and go to the dark. So I am using this Post-it tape, which comes in these rolls, and it is sticky on one side. This is great to use with your cut and emboss machine as well. Let me show you the paper. This paper is beautiful. I love this. And there are some hydrangeas that you can cut out with the dies. It is not, these are too small though, so it's not that. And this is the back side, garden green plaid. I think this one's really pretty. It's little tiny yellow roses. Oops, and it looks like I have 2 sheets of that paper. And then it's leaves on the back. This is another background paper. And it's got the garden green with the leaves. This is, I think the hydrangeas, I think you can cut these hydrangeas out, and I think you can cut these flowers out with the dies. And am I out of the other paper? There's this, and that's on the back, and yes, it's that one. And this is all I have left of this one. So as you can see, I have 2 more card backs that I can make with that. So that is the paper, and that is called the Lovely Garden 12 by 12 designer paper. And the name of the set in the bundle is Thankful Garden. So when you get the bundle, you want to make sure that you have these masks as well if you're going to do some coloring. So let me show you how to do the coloring, and then we will put a few together. Hold on. Okay. So I have a bunch of blender brushes here. And what I did was, I don't have a blender brush for every single color. Some demonstrators do that. I have not made that level of investment, but what I have done is I have a light pink, a dark pink, and a medium pink. And I think that's there's my medium pink. I have a dark green. I have a light blue, and I have a medium blue. So I have kind of separated them. Well, when I do the red, I will go grab it. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to color these. So we have this flower, we have the hydrangeas, I have a couple of those, and I also stamped some on watercolor paper, which is what these are. So these flowers were colored with watercolor paper, so then you're going to use a water brush with that, and you're going to use your ink. So I'm going to put the watercolor ones aside, and we will use those in a bit. So let me show you how to color these. And so we'll start with the hydrangea. I need to pull a sheet out to do the coloring because otherwise it's going to end up on my glass. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in order. So this is the most detailed, so that's the third one. This is the second one, and this is the first one. So let's do this first one with purple. And okay, so I have got 3 shades of purple here, and my desk is slowly getting, or very quickly I should say, getting smaller. So the key to this is to start with this widest piece first, and you want to start with your lightest color. So I have 3 colors of purple. I have Fresh Freesia, I have Highland Heather, and I have Gorgeous Grape. And so what I'm going to do is line these up over here. So I have Fresh Freesia, Highland Heather, and Gorgeous Grape. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is the background. So that is the one that is completely open. And once you get this lined up once, it's much easier. But I know the first time I tried to line this up, I was just, I just kept moving it around and I couldn't get it to work exactly the way I wanted it. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm going to tape 2 things because I have found that this thing really moves. So I'm going to tape down here since I'm not doing my leaves right now, and then I'm going to tape this up here because I found that this moves or this moves, depending upon how you use things. This is my light purple. So like I said, I have 3 sets for each major color family that I use a lot. So I'm going to take, this is the Fresh Freesia, so that's very light, it's a pinky purple. And I'm just going to color over. And you can go as light or as dark as you want. And as you can tell right there, I got a little splotch because I didn't take the ink. You should start off the side so that you don't get these blotches. There we go. Okay, so that is my light. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to do this. There we go. Did I get that lined up? It's all lined up. Okay, the key here is to not have any white showing around the edges, okay? And some of it is going to cover some of these because you don't want to color in, you don't want to put medium purple over everything. You just want it in certain places. So now I'm going to do this with my medium. And I saw the most beautiful cards with these made while we were there. And there's some very exciting changes coming as well that we learned about. So Stampin' Up! Is changing the host rewards, and it's all in your favor. Starting April 15th, we're moving to a new computer system. We're converting to a new computer system. And stamping rewards will be a flat 10% for any order over $10. So no matter what size your order is, you will get rewards. And those rewards you will be able to use on your next order. You can't use them on the day of the order that you're putting your order in unless you start a second order. Then you could use them. But so that's something a little bit different for Stampin' Up! Okay, so now I'm just going to reverse this. And I'm going to start with this one down here. So if you put in a $150 order, you'll have $15 in credits to use at some point. Okay, so now I'm going to be opening and closing inks all night. I can just tell. Okay, so now I have my green. So I'm just rubbing my marker in that. And I just want to do a really light shade to start. Okay. Put that there. Now we'll line this up. And as you can see, this kind of does the details of the leaves, so the veining on the leaves. So now I'm using the same green. You don't have to switch colors if you don't want to. And Granny Apple Green happens to be my favorite. But what's going to happen is, because I'm coloring over the first layer, only the areas that are open on the mask will color the darker color. So you'll get some nice shading with this. And it's going to look like this. There we go. And there's one hydrangea. I will put that over here. Okay, so let's put this over here like this. For this one, I'm going to use red. Oops, let me move that over. There we go. And so that is going to go like that. And as you can see, I'm outlining the flower. So this edge right here of the flower lines up with that image, that flower image there. And I'm going to grab red. There we go. And here's my red. Okay, so I'm going to do a really, really light layer of the red. Oops. So it's almost pink. Now, to wash these masks off in between, you can have a little tray of water next to you and then a paper towel so that you can dry them off. I'm going to wash them in a minute with diaper wipes, because that's what I have here. Okay, so now I'm going to go a little bit heavier with the red. And I actually would have washed this off, except we're not using the same side. We're using the other flower, the second flower. So, okay. And now we'll do the third one. So tape is your friend on this. And this I line up with these center lines, because those are the, that's the dark, that's where you want to highlight. So you've got some lines here, you've got this center here, I've got this center, that line. So now I'm going to really put on the red. And for this one, you could go to the cherry cobbler or a little bit darker shade of red if you wanted. Okay, there we go. Put my red away. And, oops. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. Okay, and here is my leaves. There we go. Now it's lined up. Okay. And again, I'm using Granny Apple Green, my favorite green. What are your favorite greens? I know the detail of these masks is beautiful. I love the detail. Okay, so there's the background of that. Do that, and let's put this one. This one's a little bit harder because there's five leaves on this one to line up. There we go. Got it. Yep, got it. All right. It also helps too if you look down on this. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not looking down on my project. But if you're looking straight down on the project, you can see if it's lined up as well. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking a baby wipe and I'm cleaning this off so that I can use this again with another color scheme. So here's this and this. I'm going to put this over here. This is my sheet. This is kind of my cheat sheet of the different swaps that I made. 5 different backgrounds on that paper. So I used the hydrangea here, and then I used a corrugated piece of, you guys are about a minute behind me, so, but I used the new corrugated embossing folder for this one. This one I used the green background, and I put a black strip here, and that is also corrugated. And then all the black pieces on this are corrugated. So this was a red one that I did. This one I used Pretty in Pink and Petunia Pop. This one was the purples that I just showed you. So that was the Fresh Freesia, the Highland Heather, and what was the darkest one? Oh, Gorgeous Grape. And then this one is Lemon Lolly and Daffodil Delight. So I used a variety of them. And this particular one, I used the red. I used a water brush to color that. So it was a little bit different than the others. So these were stamped on watercolor paper. One and this one were stamped on watercolor paper. So what I did was I hand painted those. So let's do that, and then I'll put a couple of these together. And so for this one, I have a water brush here. As you know, right now we have this collection of 3 water brushes. They're different sizes. There's a very narrow, there's a medium, and then there's a wide brush. This manufacturer just went out of business, so they're only available until they're gone. And Stampin' Up! Is working on getting another type of brush from another manufacturer. And I'm kind of hoping that they go back to this because I really, really like these brushes. I think these brushes are much easier to use. I'm going to start with the leaves. Because those will go quickly. And one thing that I found that you can do with the water brush is you can make a palette for yourself of ink. So you can do this. And then you're not pulling the ink off your pad. but you do need to use a little bit of water. So what I'm doing is I'm making kind of a soupy green soup, I guess. Ooh, that is dark. Okay, and then you just run this until it's not green anymore, or not painting green. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, because I want to highlight that center of the flower, I already have some ink in here, so I can put some of this water. There we go. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to follow these. Oh, I'm going to have to let that dry for a minute. Hold on, I have to blot this a little bit. Okay, that needs to dry a little bit. Let's work on this one for a second. So get that clean, get the pink out of there. Put that up there. Okay, so this is the Blue Azure Afternoon, and it is a semi-new color. I have not used it a lot, so I'm just going to do this. There we go. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to do the background. And let's assemble some of these. Okay. So I also have these. So, okay. Now, where did I put this? So I have a piece of, Highland Heather here. I'm going to score this at 4 1/4, and I'm out of room. Okay. Here's my bone folder. There we go. Add a piece of white to this, and then I have a piece of the Highland Heather that I corrugated. I used the new corrugated embossing folder. I don't know if you've all seen that. The corrugated folder is very cool. I love it. I hope it stays around for a while. I think it will. Okay, so I'm just going to tape this. I'm using seal adhesive. I'm going to tape this to the white background. And then to the card base. And I'm going to put this down here. Whoops, I need to trim a little bit off. Okay, so this piece here is 4 by 5 1/4. I went down 1/4 inch for each of these. And so this one is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. As I said, I went down 1/4 inch on each. There we go. Add a bunch of these. So on some of the cards that I did for my swaps, I also embossed this. So these are the new dies that just came out with this latest. It's the Textured Notes dies. And if you saw the paper in the online exclusives that has the all the textures to it, it has a background, it has a weave, it has basket weave. It's just all textures. These dies go with that set, and I love these dies. And the deckled rectangle dies did retire, so I've started using these, and they're a lot of fun because there's a lot of different patterns on here that you can do. So, okay, so I'm going to put this down, line that up. I'm going to do a little bit, I have this background image from this set. It's called Elements of Text, and it has some really pretty backgrounds in it. It has this one that's a circle. It has this one which is some writing that you can't read, and then it has these two little dots there. So let me move that over so you can see it more. Okay, and then there's 2 little dots over here. Let's use the Fresh Freesia, which is the lighter one. Fresh Freesia is kind of a pink, but it's also a purple too. It can go either way. It goes both ways, one of those. So I'm just going to lightly do some of that. Make a nice background. I will pop this up with some dimensionals. Okay. That's pretty. I like that on this background. And let's take a piece of black. I'm going to cut that in half. So I want to cut this piece of black to 4 inches by 5 1/4. There we go. Like that. So it's going to look like that. This is going to go on here like this. And I could put, I'm going to cut that down. I want this to be about 1 inch or just over 1 inch. So just because you corrugated it doesn't mean that you can't cut it. across the bottom. Okay, so this is going to go like this, like that. I love red and black together. Red, white, and black, I should say, I guess. Okay, so there's two. And so next, we can zhuzh it up a little bit. I have some of the pearls here. Again, let's use some dimensionals to put these on. Where'd my Wink of Stella go? There we go. Have to have Wink of Stella. So if you haven't used Wink of Stella before, I know most of you have. Oops. Why is it not coming off? Why is the lid not coming off? There we go. Okay, you want to shake it up. I like to squeeze it on the paper because sometimes when you first start using it, it comes out as a huge blob, but this one's not, so that's okay. So I'm just going to color this center here to kind of highlight that. Okay. And on this one, I'm going to color each one of these little doodads. Very pretty. And the other thing that you can do is I also used these. The tiny pearls, and I put a couple, whoops, stuck on my finger. There we go. I put a couple of the little pearls. These are the iridescent pearls. So I'm going to put like 5 of them on. It just adds a little bit more to it. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let's put a few. Okay, and you're always supposed to have an odd number, right? Why is that? Okay, how's that? So there are 2, and I will make more cards with this. This one came out a little bit blurry, so I may have to patch that one somehow, but or add more color. If I add some more layers to it, then it will probably be okay. So, okay, so thank you so much for stopping by tonight. So normally I would put a piece of white in here and in here, and then I would add another smaller flower to it. But thank you for stopping by. If you are not on my mailing list, go out to stampwithmarilyn.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. It comes out once a week. And it also has lots of specials and things. Right now I have the Happy Hibiscus set tutorial. Thanks again, and great to see you all. Take care.